Hello everyone and welcome back to the next installment of our 9.2 raid guides, proudly presented by Coinbase. This is Crazy Puck from Team Liquid, and today we'll show you how to kill the Mythic Lords of Dread in the Sepulcher of the First Ones. As a reminder, all of our Mythic guides are written with the assumption you understand how the fight works on Heroic. As such, this video is focused on the Mythic changes in strategy, and we won't be reviewing how Heroic mechanics work. If you need a refresher on the basic mechanics, check out the Heroic Guide video on our channel. For this fight, we recommend 2 tanks, 5 heals, and 13 DPS. On Mythic, there's only a couple mechanical changes. Each boss will now have an aura they apply for 50 seconds following their 100 energy specialty ability. After a swarm ends, Mal'Ganis applies Aura of Carrion. While active, this causes his Cloud of Carrion cast to also shoot green goop puddles from himself, on top of the circles that he'll put on random players. These green goop puddles work just like the other puddles you'll see during the fight, and if you stand in one or get hit by one, you get one of those green circles on you. Also, the Cloud of Carrion debuff itself ticks up in damage significantly more quickly while the Aura of Carrion is active. After an Among Us phase, Contessa applies Aura of Shadows. During this, anyone who is not within 8 yards of another player for 4 seconds is feared until someone goes and runs within 8 yards of them to rescue them. The only other mechanical change is that when a Carrion debuff circle is dispelled, there's more of those green goop puddles. It starts at 6 goop puddles per debuff dispelled. After each swarm completes, the number of goop puddles grows by 1. So, by the end of the fight, each circle that gets dispelled will create 10 green goop puddles. Overall, the Mythic changes don't actually alter the fight all that much, other than just making everything harder and much less forgiving. For starters, we recommend bringing as many melee as your team is able to. You need a minimum of 4 ranged for certain mechanics to function properly. Bring as few ranged as possible, including healers. The fewer ranged, the better, as long as you meet that minimum of the 4. Each cast of Cloud of Carrion puts a green circle on 2 players and will always be put on ranged players if you have at least 4 in the raid. Strategy-wise, this fight is all about control. First off, tank the boss near the edges of the room. You'll need to rotate around the room over the course of the fight as the slumber clouds start taking up space. Always move immediately following Mal'Ganis' Leech and Claws ability. You never want to be moving the boss as the cleave goes out. This can very easily result in dead melee or even potentially the boss healing, both of which are bad. When the slumber clouds are about to spawn, the ranged players should bait them by running towards either the wall or existing slumber clouds near the wall, and always be behind where the tanks will be rotating. Never bait ahead of the tanks. If there's already a slumber cloud on the wall, just bait as close to the existing one as you possibly can. Ensure you keep the center of the room clear of sleep puddles. When the Clouds of Carrion come out, how to deal with them changes slightly based on whether Aura of Carrion is active. If the Aura is not active, then you'll simply let the people with the debuff hold it until the next Fearful Trepidation is cast. When those purple circles go out, just run in the circle like you do on Heroic and let it dispel you, and then dodge the green goop puddles. There's significantly more of those on Mythic, so make sure you're careful and don't touch them. Your raid leader should be vocal anytime the goop puddles are headed towards melee. Do not get hit by goop puddles. When Aura of Carrion is active, though, you cannot just hold the green circles that long. Instead, about 6 seconds after the circle is applied to you, you'll need to pass it off to another ranged player. Be mindful about the fact that passing the circle will disorient whoever you give it to. If you're passing to a healer, make sure to communicate so you don't accidentally interrupt them in the middle of a big heal. You should only need to pass off the circles once, as the Fearful Trepidation will then be cast and then you can clear your circles. It's even more vital during the Aura of Carrion that nobody gets hit by green goop puddles, as any extra debuffs will set you really far back and can easily lead to player deaths. Conversely, Aura of Shadows is actually not too bad. If you have a very melee heavy group, the Aura doesn't affect those players at all. The ranged players just need to make sure they stay within 8 yards of each other, which they can effectively do the entire encounter except immediately following clouds of carrion being dispelled when you're dodging goop puddles. If you need to run away to dodge, that's fine, just make sure you get back within 8 yards of someone within 4 seconds. As your raid is getting used to the flow of this fight, you'll have the Swarms of Darkness coming out and melting your face. This hits hard on Mythic, and remember, each subsequent swarm deals 10% increased damage stacking. You will need healer cooldowns for this, more so in the later swarms. The very first swarm, 50 seconds into the fight, you should use Bloodlust. This is likely enough for the healers to cover without using any other raid cooldowns. The second swarm, you'll need at least 1 cooldown. The third, you'll need 2, plus something like a Shout in Darkness. And the fourth swarm, you'll just need to pop absolutely everything you have available, including players using health stones, health pots, and any other defensives that they have. The Among Us phases really aren't changed at all from Heroic. Realistically, your prog on this fight will go in spurts, and it'll take a while to get through each new Swarm of Darkness. The bosses have an enrage at 9 minutes, but this isn't a hard enrage that immediately wipes the raid. Instead, it's more of an old school style enrage, where the bosses just start doing massively increased white damage. Since that's the only buff they get, you can prolong the fight quite a while, potentially 30 to 50 seconds. This means the DPS check is actually really forgiving, so focus on keeping the raid alive. It's basically a 2.5 to 3 minute rotation of abilities that you repeat a few times until the bosses fall over. Play defensively, do not get hit by bad things, and keep pushing until the bosses die. If you enjoyed this guide, remember to like it and make sure you're subscribed to the channel to catch all of our previews, guides, kill videos, and more. A big thank you to Coinbase for making guides like these possible. From everyone here at Team Liquid, have a great day, and we'll see you for the next video.